Chumash. And Rashi, the Torah portion, a double portion, it's something Vayeilich, happen to be very small portions individually and even collectively. Very short today, yes. Okay, let's get right into, we're in second reading. We're in Devarim chapter 30, verse number 1. V'haya, and it will be, ki yavayu elecha, and will come upon you, kol hadvarim ha'eleh, all of these things. What are all these things? A bracha, the blessing, v'aklala, and the curse, asher nasati lefanecha, that I have placed before you, v'hei shevos el levavecha, and you will bring it to your heart and consider it in your heart. The way it translates, okay? Shevos means return it to your heart, bring it to your heart. Among all of the nations where Hashem, your God, has banished you. Wow. Listen to this. This is, I think, one of the incidences where you can see there's a prophetic vision. There's a statement made in the Torah that we are going to be banished. And we're going to be amongst, all of the nations dispersed, right? V'shavta. But what's going to happen? V'shavta, you're going to return. Ad Hashem Elokecha, Hashem your God. V'shemaita v'keilah, and you will listen to his voice. As everything I am commanding you today. Ata, you, uvanecha, and your children. With all of your heart, and with all of your soul. Right, you're going to return. And look what's going to happen. And Hashem, Vishav, Hashem Elokecha. It's actually interesting over here. Okay, we'll see Rashi in a moment. And Hashem, your God, will return. Ishvuzcha, from your, he translates over here, exiles. Your captivity, meaning exile. And he will have compassion, mercy. Vishav, and return, and will gather you. Mikola Amin, from all of the nations, that he scattered you. Hashem Elokecha, Hashem your God. Shama, there. Let's see Rashi. Rashi number 3, yeah? Hashem your God will return your captivity. It should be written that Hashem, he will cause to return, right? Shav means, you know what Shav means? Like he's returning, right? From here, our sages learn that the Shechina, meaning the presence of God, rests with the Jewish people in the hardship of their exile. And when the Jewish people are redeemed, God redeems himself. That he returns with them. Right? Because it says Vishav Hashem, God is returning. Not that he is causing us to return. He himself is returning. Meaning he is in exile with us, with the Jewish people. And when we return from exile, he returns with us. So just a quick note, because it's very short today. I think the Rebbe uses this, if I recall, to bring the science. The Rebbe defines, or how is science defined? How do you define science? You postulate something, and then you can prove or disprove it, right? So the Rebbe says that this is science. Why? If I recall, I remember reading this, seeing this from the Rebbe a long time ago. If I recall, it's on this verse over here. Because here's a postulation made in the Torah, that the Jewish people are going to be dispersed and they're going to come back. Does that ever happen to any other people? Never happened in history that other people were were dispersed among many nations, not just in one nation, and they fought that nation and won back, right? That's not many, that's not dispersed amongst many nations. That has never happened to any other people. Dispersed among many nations, and they came back, right? They came back, no, they came back to their original place, right? From those many nations. That never occurred, right? So that's a postulation that it will occur. Well, they got that happened with the first Holy Temple, and they came back, and now even more so. So we are coming back with Mashiach. We're still in Golus though, even though we have Israel, and the Shekhinah is still in exile. Furthermore, we can be said, Yom Kippur's Gedalia is so great as the day of the ingathering of the exiles of the Kushi, and it will come with much difficulty. As if he himself must actually hold each and every person with his hands to take him from exile. As it says on the verse, Israel, as the verse says in Isaiah, he will gather one by one the children of Israel, and also regarding the exiles of other nations, we find this example, Vishavti Eshvus Mitzrayim, now we return to captivity of Egypt. In other words, it's so difficult because God's got to take by the hand every single Jew. That's how great the ingathering of the exile is, one by one. In other words, according to the second explanation, what's happening is that God is in exile, and he's going to wherever the Jews are in exile, every individual Jew, and bringing them back one by one. That's what the meaning over here is. Very powerful. And if there will be those are in exile, dochi means like pushed away, in the end of the heavens, from there God will take you. He will gather you. Hashem your God, and then from there he will take you. He will gather you and take you. Interesting. Two different terms. And he will bring you, Hashem your God, to the land. Asher Yarshu, that you have possessed, Avisecha, your forefathers, and you will take possession, and it will be good for you, and it will be good for you, and you will become more numerous than your forefathers. Wow. But it's all pending that we recognize that God is doing this for us. That's amazing. And look what's going to happen. And he will circumcise Hashem Elokecha, Hashem your God, your hearts, and the heart of your offspring. Le'ahava, to love, is Hashem Elokecha, Hashem your God, with all of your heart, with all of your soul, for the sake of your life. So Chassidus explains this verse. What does it mean God's going to circumcise your heart? What does that mean? Why is God doing it? Why are we not doing it? Elsewhere it says, that's it elsewhere it says, you know what it tells elsewhere? That we have to circumcise our heart. So Chassidus explains, it's actually the Maimer of a Bris. Interesting. So the outer layer of the heart, which is coarse, we have to circumcise. But the pneumis and neshama, the inwardness of the heart, that God will circumcise. When's he going to circumcise it? You know when he's going to circumcise it? When Mashiach comes, exactly. Exactly. Well, there's a bunch of sichos over here. Let's. So let's go into the second verse, right? The second verse says what? Second verse, V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha, that you will return to Hashem your God. So how do you learn that? How do you learn that? Pesach? How do you learn that pasuk? The second pasuk. V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha.
I will return.
No, it says you will return. V'shavta, right? You will return, right? So the Ramban, Nachmanides, learns from here that it's a mitzvah that we have to do tshuva. Right? So there are those that learn that the mitzvah of tshuva, that it's one of the 613 mitzvahs. There are those, though, that learn that tshuva is not counted with one of the mitzvahs. And what this verse is saying, so then what's this verse saying? Huh? Because those that don't say that this pasuk is a mitzvah to do tshuva. So then what's this pasuk saying?
Don't follow. The pasuk is saying tshuva. The question is,
No. There's a machlekes. A machlekes. Yeah. No. According to the Smak, it's a mitzvah of tshuva. According to Ramban, the Minchas Chinuch, no, he learns differently. That tshuva is not one of the 613 mitzvahs. This pasuk is not talking about doing tshuva. This, according to them, this is what it just a narrative is saying what will happen in the future. In the future, right? And that's what the Rambam also says in Hilchos Tshuva. In the future, we will return. We will do tshuva. But not that it's a mitzvah. Not that the Torah is coming and telling us here that it's a mitzvah. It's an argument. So what is the root of the argument? The Rebbe says in Al Pi Chassidus, the root of the argument is that Taryag mitzvahs, 248 positive mitzvahs and 365 negative commandments, right? They are juxtaposed 248 limbs of the body and 365 sinews and so of the body, right? Gidav, yeah, blood vessels and sinews and whatever. Yeah. What does it mean? What's the inference of this? That when a person sins, one of the commandments, right? You make a blemish in one of your limbs, right? And you didn't put on tefillin, so you make a blemish in one of your limbs, right? What's the remedy for it? What's the remedy if you did that? Tshuva. But it doesn't mean, by the way, it doesn't mean that there is nothing, that there's no concept of tshuva. Those who say that it's not one of the mitzvahs doesn't mean that you don't do tshuva. You have to do tshuva, right. But it's not a mitzvah. So now he's explaining what does it mean. So if you did a sin, so the remedy is tshuva. What is tshuva? Tshuva is a power that breaks through to the depths of the soul of the individual, a deep place, where the blemish doesn't reach. Therefore, it has the possibility and the strength to fix all of the blemishes, right, that occurred through the sin. Now, according to this, and we can understand what it means that tshuva is not a mitzvah, because it's coming from a deeper place than mitzvahs do. Mitzvahs are your limbs. Tshuva is the core of you, deeper than a limb. So therefore, it's beyond a mitzvah. It's greater than a mitzvah, right? So you can't command it. You can command, move your hand, right? Your limb. Command, do put on tefillin, right? You can command that because that's an external thing. It doesn't express the true core of the individual. But when you're coming from the true core of the individual, that can only come from your choice, right? You got to choose to do tshuva, not to be commanded to do tshuva. Wow. Got that? Is that very powerful? You got that? Pesach, you got that, Nakuta? Thank you. When you did you didn't put on tefillin, so you damaged a limb, right? Tshuva means you're reaching to a place where the damage, there is no damage. No, over here. There is no damage. So that I can command you to move your arm. You could be commanded to do that because it's a limb, it's an exterior thing, it's an external thing, right? But the depths of you that can't be commanded. That has to be your choice. So it's your choice to do the tshuva. Your choice in doing the tshuva is digging deeper inside of you that brings the remedy. So it has to come because you chose to do it, not because you're commanded to do it. Perfect. Is that clear? The command doesn't. That's why it's not a commandment. It's beyond the commandment. It's greater than a commandment. But you have to choose to get to that place that's greater than the commandment. The commandment is an external thing. Yeah, but that's but that's the makeup of the Indian of what it is. That's a byproduct. It's not what the thing is, though. You're right, you have choice. I command you, pick up your hand. You have a choice, obviously, right? Obviously, you have a choice, right? But the idea of picking up your hand is something could be commanded because it's something external that is there to be commanded. But something that is of the core of you, that's something you have to come to, not something you're going to be commanded. So tshuva is touching that core. Let Andrew in. It's like Pesach. I command you to be Pesach. Can't command you to be Pesach. You got to choose to be Pesach. Can't be commanded.
That's for two people.
Eat. Is that clear? You got that, folks? Very powerful.
You're a gluten. You're a glutton. Gluten. Okay, it's mine.
You want to go?
Yeah. No complain. You always complain. Eat and then say thank God we have egg today. You never say that. You always complain.
No, there was one day last year. We had some-
Insulting.
Insulting. It's insulting.
כדי להבטיח ש...
What are you insulting me all the time?
Especially another Jew.
You remember in Shabbat what you do to me? And I never say anything in Shabbat.
Shh. Folks, positive. So, how about according to those who say that you do need to do a mitzvah? It is a mitzvah, tshuva, because so we're saying because it's the core of your being, but it may remain core. It may not express itself. So therefore, the core it is, but the command is to bring it out and express it. Okay, we're gonna have Tanya in a few moments.